brought you to Little Free Libraries, and why are they important?
I first heard about Little Free Libraries probably 3 or 4 years ago when I was working at a public library in South Mississippi. And there was a certain, our budget had been cut, and there was only a certain amount of funding that we could have for books. And I thought this might be a great way to supplement books for the library, because there was only certain things we could get for the library, which were the popular items. And I thought if I could put something out in my front lawn, I could then put on my own stuff and have people donate. Because our donation policy was sort of iffy about whether stuff could go on the shelves. About the time I was seriously considering building something, I ended up moving out of the state, and it sort of got put on the burner until I relocated to Shreveport about this time last year.
Well, you know, I'm pretty calm and relaxed, so it was no surprise when I got to Calcasieu Parish and told them that we wanted to give people spaces. And so for the last 12 months, we've really been trying to do things that get right in somebody's space and that really cause trouble and stir things up. And so the one group that really embraced this philosophy, not the staff, these two librarians will understand, the teen groups. And so our teen group in Sulphur said, hey, I know how we can do something really cool. Let's build a little free library and stick it somewhere where it'll be obtrusive. And so he said, that's a perfect idea. So we got together with the town of Sulphur. They were building this fancy park. You know, it's going to be for people dressed in suits and ties, I guess, to walk around and sip tea with their pinky up. It's a big fountains and pecan trees, oak trees, real nice, you know, manicured place. And so then here we come stomping over, you know, with a bunch of junk and trumped up ideas about little free libraries. And surprisingly, the guy that runs the little free Sulphur Parks and Rec, Norman Farr, is a little bit of a hippie himself. And he said, you know what, this is a great idea. People will be walking around here, they can get a book, sit on our bench, enjoy the fountain, enjoy the shade. So he said, let's do it. So we said, okay. So we got together with a guy who works there. We said, hey, we want to build a little free library, but we don't just want it to be an ordinary little free library. We want a two-story. We wanted to have a big glass front. We wanted it to be super outrageous. And so they said, no, we're not going that far, buddy. So they just painted a regular green color. You know, they put the banner on there, the little free library. So we didn't get to go all the way. I liked those at ULL. And I was hoping we'd get a whole series of them, but once they began to see that I was going to take over the park like I did the libraries, they were a little more resistant. But we ended up, ours holds about 30 books. The turnover has been phenomenal, and sad to say, but a woman was at the library the other day, and they said, you know, hey, you know, we're glad to see you. Where you been? Were you on vacation? Were you gone? She said, no, I've been using the little free library in the park because it has better books. Thank you. We really appreciate that. So, but ours has been a phenomenal success because it was something unique to the community. You know, it wasn't at somebody's house and people were a little skittish about approaching, or they didn't really know what to do about it, because some of it is education. You know, if you haven't heard about it and it's in somebody's yard, you're a little reluctant to go up into their yard, open it, take out a book. But ours has been really successful. I'm not surprised that y'all haven't been able to get into the park, but ours worked well because of it being in a park. And I think that's opened the door for other people then to go out and do it on their own. It raised awareness not only of the library but of the movement. And then people said, well, hey, we could do this on our side of town.
If you guys wanted something outrageous, you should have contacted architecture students.
We will next time.
So every fall semester we begin, the architecture students have a fall design competition for about 3 to 4 weeks. So last fall, 2012, we initiated the Little Free Library design competition to sort of rethink the design of, instead of it just being a little house, you know, how can we push the limits of what these things look like and how they're portrayed to the community. So that's kind of how it was brought to our school, and it was actually through a national organization called the American Institute of Architects was actually doing a competition as well for the Little Free Libraries, and so we kind of found that competition and then just kind of did it locally in our School of Architecture and Design. So that's how it was brought to us, and obviously you see there's a huge variety. We had about 70 projects total. others were either recycled or, you know, not really sure. But there's probably some left over actually still.
Yeah, my experience, I have a friend who is the most unusual person, just a really awesome person I know. She's into the Kaboom playgrounds as well. And so her goal was to make sure that every kid in New Orleans has a library within walking distance and a playground within walking distance. So she wrote a grant to build 10, and the city funded it. And she called me because I build things, and I started building them with her and her husband, and we built 10, and I got really excited and talked to Todd Bowl, one of the founders, and he said, "You got to make one for us, and make one for us. We'll sell on our website." And so I made one to sell on the website, and a friend of mine wanted one, and so I said, "Well, do you want one like this, or do you want something different?" And she said, "I want one exactly like that." And I said, "I can't make another one exactly like this because it's recycled material from stuff I found on the street after Katrina, and you know, it's just jumbled together." And so I said, "Well, take this one." And then I started at Xavier doing this because it's for me, basically, it's fun to build, and I think it's a great idea. So I enjoy building it. And so I decided to do that with my classes, my freshman seminar classes, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But that's really how I got started, building them and then watching the neighbors just go crazy over them. And also, my friend Linda has a little free library in her yard, and working Saturday morning building these, and you just saw kid after kid after kid coming up to the library and taking books out. It's like, this is the greatest thing ever. So that's kind of my goal for Xavier, is to put 10 in a low-income